All right. Yɛkyiakyia obiara. Yɛde kyia kɛseɛ efiri era 1 ɛde brɛ mo. Mo a monim sɛ mo a motaa tie yɛ no, edure nwummerɛ saa mmerɛ di a na ɛyɛ school nkɔmmɔ. Da bia nso yɛhyɛ mo bɔ a yɛdi so. Nti ɛndɛ nso yɛde nkɔmmɔhia ɛnam. Sɛ ebi afe na wohwɛ yɛn a school nkɔmmɔ ɛyɛ dwumadi a yɛfa so ɛde boa educate yɛ community, especially Ghanaian community in the diaspora. Ɛfa yɛn mba ɛne families ho. Nyama a ɔsɛ yɛhu, nea yɛnnim na nea yɛpɛ sɛ yɛsua. Nti ɛyɛ a na ɛde nkurɔfoɔ nneɛma a monim nimdeɛfoɔ aba ma ɔmabɛkyerɛkyerɛ yɛ bi. Nea me nso menim no na mede aba. Nti ɛndɛ nso Nyame ayɛ yɛ adom. Yɛnya mba akɛsefoɔ mmienu, nimdeɛfoɔ mmienu bi paa. Te sɛ ɛndɛ de Nyame ayɛ adom yie paa. Yɛakɔto gold kɛseɛ bi de aba fidie so. Ɛnti no, sɛnea daa yɛyɛ no, remember ɔmo akwanya na ɔmo introduce ɔmo ho. Na before that no, yɛnim sɛ era 1 na ama yɛ saa akwanya wei. Nti yɛde aseda kɛseɛ bɛma era 1 radio foɔ. Sɛ ɔmo dwen Ghanaian community ɔmo wɔ akwantuo mu sɛ yɛmfa fidie so na yɛfa nkyerɛkyerɛ yɛn ho nneɛma bebree. Nti era 1 yɛda mo ase. Nti me susu me na meyɛ mo kyia me, Miss Millie. School nkɔmmɔ deɛ, woka bi na woasua bi. Nti yɛsan so ma mo akɔ aba biom. Nti no medi kan efiri Sister Ellen so obeda no ho edi kakra kyerɛ ɔyɛ hwan ɔyɛ Ghana ni ofiri hin ni adeɛ na adwuma ɔyɛ senti a waba ya homa yi so ɛndɛ. Nti Sister Ellen ɛnkɔ.
Me ma mo nyinaa maajo ana asanya ka no.
We okay pa.
Okay, me a lawyer wa hanom Atlanta metro area hano. Me a family law. Me din di Elaine Amankwa Neatman. Okay, Amankwa ni free papa din so. Neatman ni free me kunu din so. My practice law for close to 10 years. Me sha CSMA practice na me a criminal law. Inti my evolve is to say me a family law. Inti I look forward to nkɔmmɔ na yɛbɛdi ɛnɛ no. That was it.
Yeah, that was it. Pa metie for some amati introduction there to send ya focus ro pa. Nti no, wobetimi a share link no ya call live. Nti betimi ato safro bi send there nkɔmmɔ yɛbɛdi no. Lawyer fo wo mu. Nti ma yɛ nim obebiebie so akyerɛ yɛ. Sister Efua nso deɛ waba so da. Baby ana and then you first time a wobetie no. Nti ne bɛma sama no kwan no ɔno hyada no ho edibiom ɛde akyerɛ yɛ.
Okay, me that's it. You were here for your master said, Maje, a Brenna Muti, and your friend, if for Kubiti. Me a Ghana ni 100%. Yeah, me a social worker. So I think say, more Mati, so what year that me baha, yes, as a social worker, then so now me kasa in a different capacity. Well, not so different, but now you kasa about autism near there. But, child welfare and no na yebeka asem na eno de my first love make us professionally that's my first love like that's where me started my social work profession free enti ade bia da makoma so ankasa enti me ni age say ma join anyway ene dwumadi no enti da ma so so mo so ma gibre na mutie
Yo ya mamu akwaba me so de muni me dada me me teacher ni kyerɛkyerɛ ni me kyerɛ adeɛ wɔ Ghana ɛna me ba ha so me kyerɛ adeɛ wo so a wabɛn me anom sɛ nkɔla any youth any families ne ɛho hia me yie paa nti ya na me ni yɛ me nkɔla me kɔmɔdie nyinaa no ɛya na akɔfa nkɔla titiri any student ana school for ho nti na me so no me din no me de Miss Millie Millicent Yale ba ya teacher for de am fɛ Miss nti no me gidi sɛ Miss Millie very quick to remember nti no yɛsa so ɛma makɔ abebiom na ende ye dwumadie no soronko esan se ye wa wetu kwan kakra no eya beti se ha de ye mbonkola ha de oya abambeje wo ba ha de ye nja ye ba ofie things like that yeti yesi sa ebi enokre ebi so ya no ye biem kese ma na bro so ye hunehura de hunehura nkofo enu nti no ye de dwumadie so eba ma edwumayefo a mo wɔ saa biebie ya na ya bɛfa ye ba yesi wanye ni ye wagya no ofie no social worker fo edwuma ɛna nyame amboa so na sɛ kɔba ne sɛ yagye oba so a family lawyer so etimi bem ntɛmo mienu aba ha die na tese nde ye ndie mu pa na ye wɔ no ɔmo mbiebie me na nya nti ase ye ne ehu ne ye betimi aye ɛne ne ye ntimi nye ɛno na ye bedi ɛho nkɔmɔ nti to put it together, no, we are talking about child protection services. Ekwan ya oman anase krom ha ye won US ha no mutimi bɔ nkwala ho ban dwumedi ahodo a ɔmo bɔ nkwala ho ban ho nsɛm na ɛpɛsɛ ka sɛ ebi ɔha pa na ɔmo pɛsɛ ɔmo gye oba no anase oba no ho hia ɔmo nti ɛna ɔmo yɛ ɔmo hwɛ sɛ ɔba ta bɛyɛ wɔ dwuma yie ne nyina ɛpɛsɛ ɛndɛ yɛte ho asɛm na sɛ wantimi anya ne yie na asɛm ba ho a na ɛte sɛ ɔsɛ lawyer bi ma den na betimi ayɛ nti ɛno nti na yaba ɛndɛ enwumre nti ebi kan mɛkɔ sisefo a hɔ yɛka child protection services anasɛ nkwala edwuma a ɛbɔ mmɔfra ho ban a ɛdɛn na ɔmo yɛ ho afɔ ɔmo yɛ police fo anasɛ ɔmo yɛ soldier fo ana ɔmo yɛ ho am because ɛyɛ na esuro ɔmo paa ɔbɛboa ma yɛnya nte asɛ kakra.
Yeah. Some now waka ne obi asro CPS for some, especially here Africa for yeah, but I think say almost sure because into I say omunya ante I say no papa into I say and I custom we say so send idea no representing our child protective service or more hosa on bebo crown pan you know him say and cry just even by virtue of their age no we are vulnerable into na nyakopon po de omushe awo phones and some of the oma be asin no omu yɛ vulnerable omu mfie no omu cognitively adwin mu na omu ntimi enye nneɛma bi mo omu ho physically mpo omu ntimi enye nneɛma bi emo omu ni ahoɔden omu ntimi mfa adwin bi like making decisions and abibi nti na nyakopɔn de obiara hyɛ parents sa sɛ ɔnhwɛ ne so na sɛ even de nyakopɔn de ne ma no kra oniwa a ya na aban hyehyɛ mu no ɔyɛ other means a akra ne benya obi ɔbɛhwɛ no ama akra no so etimi live good life into no child protective service no omu dwumadi omu ye nyina ne so omu make sure say nkra ye safe nkra ye protected just because omu ni ahodin bi wo kwan bebre so no nti no e wo say aban de hyehyɛ eto na odibo omu ho ban say mpo no owufo no to ehu tichima bi a eya na enye omu niama omu ye ne so omu beji akra but sometimes no omu wo ho se ne omu be tinetine omu be tinetine even awofo na de omu ya omu nye niye no omu aye nti no in some no child protective service no me fa ne say a wing in child welfare omu dia ne say omu dia say obi be report say o e bia maami we wa ne ba say na say school bi report say akra yi say ni say ya omu dia ne say omu be pie na omu akohwehwem na omu make sure say enso asema nipa ne kan eti sa na enti sa ana say eti sa de na ebe ye enti sa so de na ebe ye nti omu de omu ya no omu bon nkra ho ban nti omu they are the first responders when it comes to any kind of child. And I mean I'll take that back, but within the child welfare system, yes, they are the responders of any suspected abuse or neglect, like just to put it, in some into the omuya no.
Okay, wait there. I'm say omo etie me no and omo akoma beta omo yem kakra. Na me pese ebia na brofo no CPS no. Ebia na aye new me kra no me new kakra because what we know a lot of time social workers aba me fie. Social workers for me. Nti social workers me gidi say omo share CPS for na say adwuma na bomba ko me boa say sa.
So child welfare, me find say any na be child welfare, under the child welfare and cry a year die wo child welfare ni mu aye different things. So but social services na e wanna ya na usually who social workers be bring CPS no it's a wing in the child welfare whole system ni mu social workers na usually ya fa omo yes ejuma enti obi CPR first social worker na say social worker no ye ejuma as a child protective service for ne ho enti no social worker mean na ntimbo bi face am be fa ne ba unless even though me a social worker, right? Enti unless say me ye ejuma social services mu under the child protective service division and san into child services nimuna na the bia bebre ya foster care, adoption, family preservation, even food stamps, OFI sana ya from Georgia higher from office of Office of Family Independence, OFI, yeah. Into munyina watch social services na say. Into social services na DFAX office or Georgia high, hoka kraka. but obiara ne de wɔyɛ CPS for no ɔmo na sɛ obi frɛ no na yɛka ho asɛm ene so obi frɛ sɛ bi a yɛ suspect sɛ bi akora bi sɛ ya ɔmo na ɔmo bɛba abɔnten nti ɛyɛ na mpɛ bebree na ɔmo yɛ social workers nti yɛka sɛ social workers aba me fie a ani saa na ɛteɛ.
All right, thank you so much. Yɛda wase sɛ wo kyerɛkyerɛ mu yie pa na nyina yɛnya saa nteaseɛ no. Madam Ellen, Attorney Ellen, pacho odi kakra bɛka ho ana. Wo de me gidi sɛ wehyia abata ne bebree a bi a ɔmo dwuma yɛ anko yɛ ma yɛ de ɔmo abɛhyɛ ɔmo abɛfa ɔmo. Ghana kase bɛka sɛ abɛkye ɔmo. Nti no
senior me mesi ahyɛ aseɛ ne sɛ yɛwɔ criminal and yɛwɔ civil. Nti the first thing I say, kamepese Miss Madam Efua bechichum say, a dear any definition of abuse no. By law, the bechichum say abuse no, SAS certainly young. There's different degrees of abuse. There's child abuse. I mean, color.
Yeah, me did say sa ahonomo no. Me want sem bisa bebre wa ha na mo nti me gidi say sam ready person crofort here ase ne omo ye but baby all the corner sister Ellen obenya betra ma me kakra bi say e beba honomo no say obi den obi hu ba asem den na e bia CPS for no omo kwa hye parent bi kwa hye omo nsa nti ho no na wo abemu ama me nti no me gidi say nti me gidi say ne wa kire kire ase so ne ne ya adwin bebree dia na kese beto so nti questions bi beba afi ebe hu ne nti a sa CPS for no beba wo fie na maka se de bia ade we de wanye ne ye abuse we nti ye de abofra ne beko ana se bra na be yi unu ho ano mpacho ebedu ho and then komo no ebe de nti ye kwa ne kakra nti no mpacho wo bibia betimi aka ha.
I mean say so omo hu me de me nim from my experience because I'm a juma with juvenile court akra. Say CPS no ehu abuse ni ria na omo a prosecutors ne the back quarter na afe wo nipa no either wo be kohwe lawyer na say one kasa be representative wo be juvenile court ho e ho na case no umbedi asem no enti e ho no part na me nim that as to whether or not how it gets there no there and no there I think say ono na bit much mu ye actual but so so we drew court no honum dia no maka say abuse no ha your friend a deprivation case e honum no so we need sika so ultimate lawyer with me apply no mama lawyer so untimi so wo ankasa lawyer so with me the number na ono na obedi wase mama no aka say maybe abuse ni ho and I say was misinterpreted whatever your case is no be kan court so no almost so the almost evidence about pictures and I say testimony and our witnesses now a honor baby see so I don't know if that answer the question.
What me time say let us say before who bebe mu no let us say case be established CPS fa koyo mo adwuma mo hu say we dey nko ya bofra we ne ahwe ya na bra bo ne nko bebe say ko nti no obatan and abatan mo besin ko yi mu ano obatan no so say bia there be nyesa na tie dia na say Attorney Ellen ho na wo so bem na behwehwe mu nti de be kwa be wo say ebedu bebre culture bebem nti no ebedu amehia Attorney Ellen say edu bebi a san na wo fa so eboa ema abatan no bi no mo say and I say omra no ho say there be nya abatan fault e bia bibi nti e na kwaye ne santi ebedu ho no nti me da say waka o part ne dia so sister fu ade no so say case ne ba ho dia afi na mbehwehwe mu hu say nokre ananya nokre nti no yes akọ so bi ne ye bi sister fu ansem na waboa ye say ebe na akwa kodu say asem epo de abuse and I say nya abuse nti no me next question kwa ma sister fu say kwan ben so e ba o my trotro me questions nti me hwehwe de abende de nkomme me hwie bi pa nti o say sister fu me bi say den na mutimi to anamon wo hwa se bi munye magic ana munye magicians mo se fie we bibi nko ya kola we ne hu nti hwa mo na mo di nsam ne brem hwa mo na obi be saka se Ghana kasa hwa mo na ya mo be di kokonsa ne de kire mo na utimi to anamon be me fie se me hwe me be yi ana sa abofra we o se yekoboa no hwa mo na mutimi eye se edwuma na den na muti sa nsam na ekoso e fie mo no
no problem yo nsam ne de efa kwan bebre so na eba It is to say, yeah, establish CPS the year. Who call DFAX office be who CPS worker because every DFAX office be was say be a assemble a be friend and be kwa abunti akwohwehwem o money CPS phone aha sisi yenya okwan bebre so schools to me obia to me report let me say that everybody can call they say Georgia hano a 185 Georgia child. That's the number. Friend. So suspect and I am make catch say you don't have to know whether or not there's an abuse or neglect. And essentially, attorney Kano, Elaine Kano, I think say we have to break it down what we are even talking about in terms of abuse because there are different kinds of abuse and child protective service. Abuse now you're dealing with. It might not be the same as what a criminal lawyer or other lawyers will be dealing with. Minimum questions does maybe an
we're serious because you're pie cost. Don't rush. My next we are better us.
Okay. It's quite baby. Obia betimi afre number available to Obia. Into anybody somebody passing by who are freely say Cray. I said there's some level of abuse or neglect or some level of eminent like safety issues basically maybe a create bibi and one is offering and ya no be analyze say yampa na nyampa CPS ni no adwuma nti de afre nti obi abetimi afre and aban so enyansemu no wo de bibi afre no mandatory reporters wo nti obi a oye adwuma oni akra bia ye adwuma even we a volunteer kra na we a mandatory reporter aban de say we na ma say akra bia ebia tibia no nye wo sense say akra di ase bibi nkoye ase akra danger bi wo ho ma akra na e wo se wo mfre and aban show kitten say frɛ nti wo ni choice nti enko sankofo na bi ni school teachers de bia wo mu nkra nti akra ba school na bia de bia akra ase order or class disturbing akra de wo se won da na juna oba class na dia wo besia de nti teacher ni hu bibi sa obetimi nti teachers won no mudi konkonsa no and doctors before she stay and say adwuma bia profession bia omo hwe nkra omo ba in contact with nkra e wo kwan bia se bia no aban sha omo say wo hwe na bibi nkoye wa akra na braboma again me pese me sisi bia say nipa no nye say wo so ye sure say abuse be or one and neglect one as our friend. As long as bibi can't say akrebia bibi kran so yeah very obvious. Say who baby a try any kwan say try. Who say was someone reporting obia to me ebe can sem natural efre number no report ema CPS no obia to me friend. Now so empo oma yes show my buying show my mra show mo say e was on by like come with me or someone from mandatory reporters no so more baby daycare service centers, schools, hospitals, police, every baby or more until when I am reporting.
Me that's it. Pa we dey ya mo see so for bro be wo we dey wa ma awo me say me teacher ni tin okay me the pass where you teacher where you teacher for every assembly because dey be am say na teacher no ko kan ye and then the achewa betie me bia no teacher for yen sorry keke enko frɛ aban ma mo say wonhwɛ wo ba ne ye yen hye de ma ye ye be enche be school training na ye nyina no so ka ho bi intino te say na wo ka no enya ade o say me hu say eyampa na say nyampa menya hu sign kitikiti bi kra na o say metimi ema ebia me penyu say school mo a o say me ma me principal na say me supervisor hu so abofra wo me class no me say bibi say so e sense yen so kra no we are mandatory reporter na wa anya wadwuma yi a ebitimi be count utimi lusu license ye hu say you are wa sheda pesa wo katanya maso a me hu betimi a kire me intino ye required say tem ye ni be common ba no especially special need in kola omo ntimi nkasa me kasa me fa me hu say me special need teacher intino eno no ehye pa because bibi yakra no ofia ontimi enka anasa obest school kra me kanti me na o say me yakra ni advocate to school as a mandatory reporter ba me hu say oyo okay na because to be Ukrainian no special need for situations ebi o ha otimi ya na afene ma me ne kwa titi no wa ye ne bibi nye se on pe ne ba no ba wan hwe ya wa bre wa titi wa frustrated to betimi de bibi abo ba no betimi ya ne bibi na wa kasa wenu ho nti mimi oba me school na me hu bibi sa na me ni fie ho de ba me nya hu dia se metimi hu se bibi akoso abofra we efie nti most of the time we train teachers from kasa abofra bi ba me se me class me ye pa me ni me para professional me say akure bia be school no pa ye share that ene me kama ba time mutie me pa me share that hwehwa abofra no ho me yi no ho kra na me hwɛ de kwanchi na so echi ni nsemo me nya ho bibi kitipi kra na school ye good bia no be fair parent ni so oh oba ne be school no pa we no ye hu se ne high red oh ni ha ho no ni ha ye say nti no unim dada na unim or say ho na parent no yi ano say si wo fear because ni etimi sinsu ne say sometimes as a teacher man fra parents be o me very funny one friend na we hu an fra obekọ akra ne bekọ fi obeka ba akọ back say e si wo school ahono na man hwe ya mimi hu be kire me se me hu na me so me pesa batan no ne hu be kire ni tin ma ye din a likely say sa akra no kofi abatan bi opese opet teacher ni bone no obetimi asan no ha fresh school na ka say ne ba be fi no we kra me wa me mehu man ka ho ase no san me yi me ho anu enye yi nti me koka se oh oba na esa na ti a o ma bisa sa ada na one frɛ ada na one report nti me slam ne ama me ka sai titi ni said enye teacher for pen e yempa abatan na asem e ya so dia e da ya so se wo de oba ne be hye yen sa yen so ye wa so se be make sure say you safe se oba ne be fie na we pra oba ma me ho a kire me ana se oba ma ye hu se be bia oba no wo no nye safe san so na me so se me hu se abofra no efie bi na onye safe ha me pa abofra na 17 no se me ma ban hu se da bi efie na abofra ti me no em se nyama nko yi na am protecting nti anti family da se pasa wa church ho ni e na nye teacher for nso nko o se please for campaign ni bia wo neighbor e ka ho bi sometimes I na me fa we ni nkosi wadanfo bi oba wo fie de bia se da bia we na ekoka e wo na ba me fie bia wo neighbor di na ni ahwa wo ja kra na ofie na maybe because de bi na akoba pu maybe na opeduane edi ni sa nyama ne pe o neighbor betimi afre nti no obi wo aba parent kra wo tie mi so kra wo ye bia wo say ye titi obi ba na say bi because obi ba bra bom a wo so ye reporter ni bi say na on pese oba ba yes no so about time we are not blaming here but sometimes situation to me ma about time bi ye to say nyamo kra na mo wo momba wo bibi sa na to protect akra no or so ma obi who said there be efie we mu bibi because and kwala nye safe for safe you know nti reporters ni de ye nyina nye teacher for pe ye nyina we are adults nko adia you have to for love of kwala ne omu safety no we are all mandatory reporters ye nyina ye quote and unquote for we have to do it for the sake of kwala no all right attorney Elin pacho de bibi be ka ho ana
the outcome correct. I mean me were one scenario where na me was school no na lawyer bi ka story bi a kire me say ono kra no na ne ba no o sorry anopa na nani aye call say me mfa ene de won ko school because won ko school a obi be ko ka me ho asem aka say na me abuse when titira fie na wani no enye yi ansa na wa
ehiliansa
eti esi ehwe mani I think say de ye ka tra na yen sheda ntimi yen sheda enkaye no say any kind of sign of akolane pra and as in akorane health you can't say what you the health in
apomodin
no enye papa ena enye papa if we say ne maami na anase ne papa no enye bibia say ebebo akora na man ho aye papa no and no na those are signs na ni hwehwe no neglect abuse those sort of signs no se nipa hu a we are mandatory reporter SO reporting pastor SO reporting teacher SO reporting lawyer all these people SO reported the be hu a enye okay actually CPS for
okay. Thank you so much. Nti anu kwa well lead me to my next question. Nti na me baby say whether me kind of brofo na me dey akotrim so that obiati. Me next question is say under what circumstances can African parents be involved with CPS? Edebe nyama na etimi ma obata metu kwa me bepe bibi edi na me raising kola na fe de CPS for me ni omo enya asem. Then ebe metimi akodi start bia no mo. say ka time me de be ko adwuma na afi na me call court afi na me call social work office ni ade dem bi na ye ya etimi ma ye ho kwan ebie kwan me konya amane bi etisa but sister if we betimi aboa ye.
Okay, yeah. So, and when I return in our the basis are CPS for yede and say mono ye the presence of abuse, any form of abuse, and a child abuse here. We are talking about, and even with the child abuse, you're breaking it down, kakra, and neglect. So, you can't child abuse that in the context of social services, and I say child protective service for no, emuno, or more share physical abuse number one. Into physical abuse, idea, yes, say if there's any, maybe breaking physical abuse and so down. So, say, be akra physical that's as the name implies, bruise be one who baby fracture, burn, cut, even internal injury. If say Dr. Kasakra, like when you have some kind of internal injury, so anything that looks like that, physical abuse, and CPS also mumba and beshishim. It is a parent who calls CBB sawa bahua. Na say do CPS when you ma or meba beshishim. Aha, and that's all be who betting me after CPS. Ama into yansha needs to be bruises, fractures, minimum only chi say a crown way chicha.
We are me born a pot of and I say
Bruises ne fracture could ni na yemebu ewo kwan bi so bia e make and pass on ben say bia kra no endra oba fie free school na bibia nya oba fie ni na ho ahyehye okọ school a ni teacher ni hu sa it can be the teacher bet me adwin say physical abuse and it was say mind you whether a physical abuse or any physical abuse or your teacher na adwuma ni say obe confirm me on the any say I sense physical abuse because akra ne ho ahyehye nti me frɛ CPS. And that's one form of the abuse, so that physical abuse. You would when be who are crying. Sexual abuse so say ebia a cry exposing you to sexual stuff, ebia rape, and so of course say sexual abuse, coerced nudity, like to say a cry forcing ama where you know Twitter pictures, a cry exposing to ebia sexually explicit nyoma. Ni nyinaa yɛ sexual abuse nti yɛka sexual abuse ɛnyɛ penetration nko a akora ebi ɔbɛkɔ school ɔbɛkɔ ɔka kyerɛ ne teacher sɛ ebi a ne maame de pornography kyerɛ no ɛyɛ sexual abuse. I mean it can be allegedly called like sexual abuse a ɛwɔ sɛ ɔfrɛ ma CPS no bɛhwehwɛ mu nti sexual abuse is also one category. Touching akora ebi a obekwa koka say na obekwa hospital like be a doctor ne ka say obeka say obi touching ne the doctor na was say and obeka kire obi for that matter panyi bia say obi a me papa na me maame na panyi bia me ne ti fie ho a o hwe me so and na on hwe me so kwa na o fie ho na o de ne o touch me e wo baby enya me private areas na eni na ye can say sexual abuse. Into again be say me emphasize say sexual abuse enya just penetrating any form of sexually explicit nyama bia pornography, all of that ni sexual abuse what a CPS for hwehwem nti no awofo amutie yen ni nyina no se wonye wonkwa na wo hwe akra na wo caregiver bia ya oboa wa saa de ni nyina wo se because e betima ma wakọ CPS for nsem okoka kakra wo school and okoka kire adamfo mpo ama adamfo ne koka kire ne mame ana panyi bia hu pe obetimi a report it. Another thing is emotional or psychological abuse, verbal threats. To say and they say me highlight it, make sure no me say and no the Africa for and NKOMO Africa for community verbal threats because of the culture being identity. I know we won't cry where your parenting and I know we will get there. But and also say a but some kind of weird punishment. They are chronic and hear mu na dream mu even exposure to domestic violence, say be our intimate partner in the world, be a more chronic general, can be nasa chronic could be a much obia obetimi afre CPS. I'm a CPS for our brabo. Into another category near emotional or like psychological abuse, domestic exposure to domestic violence, verbal threats, just unnecessary or bizarre punishments. na why you soon din or catch any teacher pay bit me afrel. What akransa, what tie no up. All those things can emotional abuse. Into no so betting up with this CPS for some war. But why an uncle for adrian shut down costo prenatal abuse. I think some of adrian cost because maybe I am Africa for no shut down your problems. Among your problem, no shut down cow. To say prenatal abuse, obi a unyim now you full year and drone near the no. So as I test akra and as akra no test positive and as akra no start any withdrawal symptoms na just say no you were actively exposed to Pacho, mommy show me computer.
Drugs or something like that.
Yes, we are exposed to drugs. And yes, I cry so you won't because I no. I don't know. So I now change there, but me say one of the tests, preliminary tests that I was substance to detect any kind of substance or whatever in them. Sana na omo hospitals again. I don't know. Na me what CPS no na your cases be for newborns because omo test positive omo maame no wo no nti ya mpeni ama maame ne crown afa akra na nkofi ana say akra no estative enya withdrawal symptoms no say wo show maame yem no no niama o ye drugs wo akra no say won so we drugs nti say we you PA it is just like every other person will go through be or substance abuse issues be our jaya or go through that withdrawal the same thing the child also go through withdrawal symptoms no the doctors need detect pe omo be free into abuse side, me fan say physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional and psychological abuse, prenatal abuse. Those are the things that under the abuse, Emma yetimi ko DCPS and some. So minim say I mean trust on neglect no peace na na say.
Yambo honey tough kakra. So near sister for Kenya na say CPS for baby with fear di kan nipa omoye. One na betimi aka ma omaba ofie no yaka ni nyina na ti say maybe say den na be ma obi say teacher ni o say doctor o say o neighbor o wadanfo babysitter anasa one kasa kra na ebia wodo ba koma babysitter one kasa say oba babysitter so your mandatory report no because wodo ba no ko ba babysitter na ukofa na bibia ye na uso hu a anya say o kan wano ti because one kan na say okodu school a ye de bebre ofie na so akoka say babysitter no other than babysitter ne ya with the one can until technically ye nyina ye reporters so then maybe say then na be master asemi nyina betimi esi na obi akọ report e na wabobọ say ne nyina akọgina abuse ne che say ase wash akola ne pra na so pra no kwan bi so wodi ne nya wo kwan bi so wotiti no kwan bi so until no ka say physical abuse ne che say ase why ne bibi ma obi ade ne ni behu say we pra obi ade ne be hu say we de ankoyi amakwala no nyama ebetimi de yeni hu ye de yensesi so aka say we de wa ha akwala no na oka about emotional ne de e dangerous to me that always say no dangerous because they be ameka say so obi bu na wo pra na moja e ba eno de obi abe hu say we pra ma moja e ba basa de no wa akome ma na wa adwem a obi ankohu undisa wonni ye bi kra de no obi an emfa obi aho but the moment obi hu say we pun say trape obi adwene beba hu say we say twante no help ne ba quickly into no abuse ni bi o ha emotional na eno na ha adwen pa eno so no ye hu ya e kwan bebre di hu eno so nche say ye umfa weni hu na akomem ne na adwen ti hu ne ndi ye oka bebi ti say withdrawal said akure bi o class na nsa mimi ye bi wo me class akra no a very cheerful a boy after they do baby no towards the yes classes so towards the end of the semester me will say waka no ho amoa why din na oba na say dey be esre bi woni mani ade so I became worried to me friend mama so bibi e course wo fear na or special need akwalanti no ono nka sent me express no ho yi na me friend so me hu say oba na say nyama sisa like the way me pay oye why din so bibi an course until apparently long story short me when say ya ka special need ho asem me when say yes sisa classes no we say we mun change autism especially change a big deal at the mom until yes sisa classes no now I used to one particular teacher one group of students until yes sisa classes now okonya new teacher now okonya new other ya mingle students as to post student new change e ma na withdraw until bibi sa no say bia me friend say bibi na ekof to ofia na parent ni kan ya me hu but me study ye hu say e change na ye o school mu ho no and na affected because of ASD but assuming say after some time he became okay until assuming say twice then I become more worried but me who say me man the time kakra study no na me so that little change na ye o school mu ho na man yes that until sometimes in the psychological emotional ufa we ni who say we pra but ni ye no em say you lose auntie for best so ni ye no ebe ma we hu so bibi enko yie and or can be about sexual abuse no sexual abuse ye kasem ne fe say bi asebi obi akoto obi mondan pe but nyama bebre ba akwantu mu a nyama nketinketi e fa oba ni be ma hu ni ye bi wo ho a wa hwe yi a ye beka say we ndi ni panini say bia or can say the pornographic say bia phone adeja wom movies adeja wom na o di church akwara no kasa enye eni di eni hu na wo kan na we yi hu kire no anasa ma obi yi no hu e de kire no o si son me ha wa ma ni esuso nkrofo ba bia nye say o so ni ade nyina na say obi eni kobos wa e beka say sexual no ya abuse ebi o ho a ebi nko ono betimi akoka okoka say bia babysitter ho na wakona bibi sa akoso betimi akoka wo school sometimes no nkola hwa de bebre na baby na no so practice nti be ha say bia ba no beda sumra bia de wo say da bi akra wo hwe bibi and obi ka bibi egu na so and obi di ni sa aka ne bibi enu sa no partial almost CPS 40 ho asem amu fe ndi agro kra nti no mami efo efri so me say metimi ama na baba aka okay. Yeah.
Well,
all right. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. Attorney Ellen, Pacho the Bibeka home.
Oh, Debbie, never can you.
Okay. Inti waka ntini ake nyina acquire CPS for betimi abe ofie through abuse any kind. Eno ye one as a wutiti akola na neglect nso continue. Mami efu Pacho beto aso ama with the neglect pattern.
Yo, me that's it. Atie for me seremo and huma no mo sometimes no about something.
Yeah.
So neglect no so dear no and then so senior abuse no you different neglect no you different na me bubum me breaking it down am be nti and so your physical neglect be to say maame untimi and provide akra no the basic needs but etie for muntie yen Ghana for muntie yen untimi provide aduane ma akra no clothing shelter and that the ya na tied to yen pa for especially more one crowd with special needs omuntumi and supervising cranny and I say and yet so omuntumi supervising cranny but it's a sign to me to nkra na wa bra omo maame no mo hwe omo to say akra na nsuo akofa no you know drowning and I say bia wo tuo wo dan efie wo mfa nhye baby ye na akra na kofa na wa discharge gunshot no na akokuna na akopra no ni nyina no neglect se bibi sa sipe police bapa child protective service for ediso because no ye inappropriate supervision and no ya under the physical neglect no and no inability to provide basic needs for the child the gianism ntade baby obeda ebia you homeless you be first CPS and no no ye one of the neglect and educational neglect and so and so parents are on share money bank school. I think say Georgia and then as a masisa no me free child if I check a crab but meaning say maybe no now I think so mom say 10 days consecutively within the school year within a certain period of time a bible who needs to say child neglect unless say nipa ne yare and bibi I can't remember numbers ni ye but educational neglect and things in it and say akrabia said the and right say oko school when you addition fi school to obeko school no pa na be efie so oyare a no wo ho BBC e no wo ho mati kwan Africa for your title kwan e no wo ho ni nyina na wo so ma school ni hu but say bibia ansi ye na akra no so nko school yetimi school ni timi report ma CPS e ma CPS ba wo fie e be hwehwe mu ade konti akra no nko school into educational neglect nso so ye one big one and emotional neglect nso so wo ho akra bia hia say obe nurture no obe gumi no obe show no love wo tite no ignore no say wo jane si ho and I say wo intimi hunahuna no you know those kind of and o isolating efini nuamu ana efini pemu o chese ade bia obeye tete akra na akra ne koka ho asem wo school mu ana o de moko hospital for the check up na akra ne ekasa na oka bibisa ama doctor na doctor need to make first CPS into any emotional neglect no and I medical neglect so say ni nyina na make can maybe enye na ebedru but eya na your exceptions kakra e wo baby enu nyina ebeti embrebe ma ebetimi a chechim medical neglect so e was akre bia yare a wo de ne hospital nti se wo ba yare a even though ye wo ba no e fa ne hye dem ntupunu mu e was wo de ne hospital eno no betimi aye under medical neglect say one for now even one for now hospital timely now the ne hospital eventually na say doctor no say I then I was see symptoms na che ade life threatening nka ade betimi ekun akure but what now sa afia sa wo de ne ba no crowd doctor no betimi a report it again doctor no and he doesn't have to necessarily confirm say is an actual neglect or any if or suspect say or no field no one na ne nim de na or one as a medical doctor no or Felicia akra ne yare e wo yare bia e was a parent bia wadwi mu da ho no wo de akra ne ba e bia within 2 days or 3 days now what now e bia time I say we are na say I too late now the neighbor no obetimi a report into medical neglect so enyema we nyina ekoso and a real into Africa for any mama for mutie ni awo for mutie mu fanto mutie because me wa CPS no me Ghana for bebre enti no sento na interest bi o why we ni nda wo so enti mu fa mu adisia medical neglect ya ade bia me akasa personally me hu say Ghana for bebre were falling for it pa cases most cases yenya ya na Africa for na Ghana for specifically no sometimes they medical neglect and then sometimes emotional neglect no eti eno so so ho say wa akra na pomudin wototo na ase and another form of neglect is say abandonment to say waja wo ba to na say eya na usually no Georgia had there eya na 6 months na ye de bibia nti for the most things that we do na 6 months time frame it is for 6 months wo de obeja obi wa manipa no wa aka say oh me kwa ha ba meba say jisika ji aduane ma akra no ama nipa ne so ate ase se o mehwe na ama na no an se wo de weja na to ho na wokọ eno ya abandonment ana se wa so wo bansa na wo de akọ gina di fast na wo de o mama wa abandon what discharge wo parental duty say e bi akra no mintimi hwe ne biem eno so CPS wo be som nti abandonment no for instance one case I make kai pa eye Ghana ni bi o de ne ba ma ne maame na o ne maame ni good terms papa and ono akasa ne maami o ne maami ne good service papa iti no just say bia okwa aba one day no afi womba wo friend ne ba ne so ne ba na mfi iti ofre CPS eventually you know because wa ba abandon akra na ma no ebi ono bibi ye woni na anka woni na to so and aweja akra na man iti abandon neglect ne bi no abandonment medical neglect emotional neglect physical neglect educational neglect tini nyina no se na matrechue mu no beptimi kwan bi so a true neglect we mu bia no CPS betimi aba ofia na se say obi ti ho asem na o ka che CPS fa mu be di akire aba behwehwem lack of supervision is so very very critical pa nkra na bi no mu ha adwen na so se na obati bia no so we here help e was so mbisa ansa na the worst happens inti say ora na untimi nhwa wo ba na won so awen bisa help na akra no ma akra ne koyira CPS bepa police ba pe CPS na ebe to aso e na eba ne sa na ye hwehwem na say truly no there's that element of inappropriate supervision which is part of the physical neglect piece na no ye betimi age nya akra no koyira he na eje o manya because ultimi hwa ba akwa ultimi hwa enti no neglect piece no no a few other things are no so ya na etimima CPS eba awofo eba abusuamu ana eba hwehwe niama mu abusuamu so ye to say if there's any imminent risk of serious harm and for instance that is how it's coded in CPS for way mu no but I think send me breaking it down and say ebi amame wa wanyem wo kowo wawo mi wa wo history ebi awo makra wo child welfare mu deda system ni mu deda and no say CPS for doctors never fresh CPS for amomaba usually make I na me case worker no say me maybe parent binyim na me nimba of foster care that na bia me na me manage case na me right say was many doctors na mo hwe maame ne kasa maame ne wo ya they have to inform me say maame na wo, then we will go ahead and go to the hospital and look into it and possibly remove the child too. She said, "Oh, I cried that our foster care system ni mo. Oh, pet na so wunyin say oh pet. It was a CPS for eba be hwehwe asem ni mo. Oh, aha, inti no no dia won share dan ye bibi oba because of her history and also obi a was so several substantiated cases ebia wono child welfare ya CPS for about fear on different yes na ni na ba ho nti say wonyin sen pet now hospital pay was say CPS form bra and be hwehwem because omunya sure say wuntimi nhwe womba aban nsem deda na utimi hwe dia wa wo no no yeah one thing and e be also so we losing him back before ebia ya TPR which is another way. Okay, so ebia waja wa abandon ne baby ama ono ankasa so ne bansa de nako child welfare office say means me hwe me ba so onyimpe say yetin ntie bia sa onyima e was say yen hwehwem because we sense some serious harm because if you listen on to me shakra just like now when to me and share back because there have been times I obi atimi aweku akra no wahu because on pay akra no nti say wo no ebi aban age wo mba deda na wo your system ni mu deda na ye hu say wonyimpe e was say yen starting and follow wa wo ye pe e was say CPS won so to be. See these are so in my on my end in some no the abuse piece which constitutes a lot of elements, the neglect piece and so elements ni nyina ene the maybe see about the imminent risk of serious harm which is a parent we suspect that there could be a chance that akrana wo fear na wo no mention because of abia history with yang because why away because what give you parental rights that all those things no so bema CPS no so about ofi.
Wow. Okay. Anthony Pacho Okabibiana.
They are touching on no as far as the legal side no say abuse ne ba and yet all I'm not condoning it all.
Yeah.
The consequences no as in like the kind of treatment
and who's Susan so no
and yet all and yet to said yeah automatically ubano free no permanently a process we go through the courts no a process and the law in Georgia no before ombeji buy free forever and ever no the threshold no also it's high.
Okay, so why so ordinary che
yes
say
chances and the whole process of investigating of even if you call temporary foster care you can still reunite with Obano so it's not like right away at Chewa Obano continue men fa Obano ko dwane ko Ghana as soon as CPS is involved just understand say your process your legal rights and go through the
I want to remember how kakra but time me call back na me wrap it up ne stay for kind no
and let me know and send ya all kind of media to so say CPS for ne there omo ba investigate kwa send ya send ya all kind of media
omo pass judgment
yes because at the end of the day omo dia omo ya no omo dia ne say call beba na omo apie na omo akohwehwem then it's the all kind of sanity but niam ya bobo so na CPS no beba yes so that's what it is.
Okay, person me come chika krana near auntie for can say ankoma ye di nyina na ya chemu mienu say CPS for no mo bon kwala ho ban na as before me ba some beji oba na se benya mane no nsem edi ban ya chemu mienu ba ku abuse na ba ku ye neglect abuse ni abobo so bebre se wa hye de prabofra no na wo ye nyame bi emmoa no na neglect no so say we bu nani egu nyame bi so. If I'm right, and neglect word that makes me to say, na maybe I only say a bad time. We are more banana on your sitting up and we bu any so. Example, or can say medically. when him saw immunization or yare or suddenly call hospital and this anya many ba wunye we bu weni egu so we de nye hwe we be okay na we jane fie ma na abro so so na kwaye situation ko echi na fe we de ne kwa professionals ni be hu say there be we ba ntama kan enkodum pempen so say and I ban school so school de ni hia me pa because me all can I am mesrepo your course for take attendance so 10 days straight so uba etinife 10 days straight na one free school ho say bia ye tu kwan oh oyare and I be saying mo excusing na me dia ni say anope bia no me take attendance nti say nya akobia 5 days 6 days straight pe or some me lead teachers and I'm administrator who say akora we no we trust no be say e bia 6 days say 10 days straight na ye be disenroll no ye be yi na die free school mo ho. First of all, be free. Your friend and sanka one for hospital be ambassador yare one free wa. 10 days ni do a emrache say you be yakra na di every school mo ho. Nti nya do ho their school bia wo most schools have social workers. Into with the involvement of the social worker never try so be follow up. Bia mbeba ofie 10 days ni tu na yi ni din free mo a or afa na no so be yen hwehwe mu. And when we nanti na obe register oba na ye address, ye phone number, enche bia be school. Sanya many, you know, so updating no. So phone number, I will do a series on that back to school. But say me find so phone number what's the son now I'm at school na anye. Na fro na anko 10 days ni do bia na genuine who reason be take an be school. But my friend number na wo me ho no, dia fra me sanka 10 days ni do a wenya asem. Because be you need na fe a sha sa ba hwehwe. Nti no oba embe school amen fro wo kwan say oba betime fie. Just I'll say it me excuse you for a good reason. Na teachers here wo mrabi say parent be ba say excuse ni ba bia ye tu kwan BBAC family reasons binti or say it me di enkati akrani education instruction betimi prepare work me ade na dia more say mu tu kwan amufa nko and as a means be o ha adesua ne betimi akoso a we can provide home help intino say one yen ni nyina na say 10 days ni do bia say ne o kan no betimi enya asem ye be hwe because abofra bia or right to education won't mean in the coin say more in education because of situation being a big cry hospitalized colabi or how many hospitalized they still go there and teach them until no to me for be you want to say waiting na me ba no or ye absent no and na oka send ubeja kra no ofie no na bebre nso ye ho kire no say meja me ba ne ofie nti pese me bisa say age ben because abandonment now can ebi oha ordinate obi na wakwa one baby wache chin senior and ebi so oha which is the difference say oh me kwa ha ba tinefie na me kwa ba eno no pacha mo nchira me honika because on holiday na most of us are guilty right into no age ben imbrane chesen say metimi eja me ba ofie hours do say me kwa market aba me kwa edwuma ba ya makwan bebre ofie pacha hono mo nchira chire mu ye na enti ase.
Okay, attorney,
Oh, okay,
you. So no abandonment, and no lack of supervision. Abandonment, it has to be to say what they will buy. Will be what brown man nippani who baby a won't po. Now a bibini our friend when Jessica when Jabian when Josh made me bad bro. Oh, me obviously or me call about 3 months now by that's abandonment. There are all kind of supervision issues. To say, again, and Brano, laws, and policies, they change with time. But the last time I checked, so I cried 13 years, now we are for to me, Jan will fear. But you won't mean Jan is on share and cry more younger than them. 13-year-old bet me, and this is Georgia, and I'm thinking it might be the same in other states because usually child welfare is, policies not government or federal policies. I think it runs through the whole state. Or 13 years, to say, yeah, will be fraying. So, oh, my men, the be Johnny Bawfie, me kono 13 years, I can write there not something could substantiate the case because 13 years, or no quality me out fee. Say, Gianni or ho, Bibia or ho, if you're safe or bet me out. But ultimately, 13-year-old now found crowd 5, 3, and goodness. And son of Bejan cranny, they have to be. I'm not sure if it's 16 or 18. I can confirm that, but I know for a fact that here we allow a 13-year-old to be fear by themselves. I will be uncountable. The moment I would be become, I was so 16 or up or 18 or up. It's one of those. I just have to.
I think it's 60 because I know say 16 they can do some sort of hours of work, and
Yes.
so 60 most of them are able to babysit for money.
Yes.
Yes,
Most
so I think
likely
it's
16. I just have to revisit that.
Yes.
But yeah, that and no.
And I'm if you say 14 is the age of working. But I have to look at
Yeah,
the
I
law.
think say 14. It depends on the hours, you know, because ultimately more than certain number of hours based on your age. I mean, I told you, Pacho, when I was
the next
yes.
That's the thing. And somebody does.
Yeah, but at least it's above 13. Above 13, there you can babysit. I believe so because you are able to work some sort of a, you know.
I think with you being left, say a dear crasher when say a whole human being, no, it's 16 or 18. It cannot be 14.
Okay.
13 years dear. Unless it's we are mentally or cognitively. And no, this is the Bibiana exception. Even some able seeing abuse and neglecting buy a code cinema, exceptions, baby, and I know say very woman, but the acronym cognitively into a cap simple is it caps? Yeah, it's a child care buying no. So we are 13 ya cattle qualify pa ebia unu amoke to happen obinya 13 you should be able to be home by yourself to government ain't here. But so you're 13 now cognitive ability disability be and now say developmental disability be I know they are buying because we here. So that is how that whole concept came about. In the 13 years we are fine. Inti awufa mutie yen se moba ewo 13 am betime agya omo but so they are crack it to be shining sadia I share say obewo 16 or up again me double check is either 16 or 18.
And to kakra me minim say some of them cran hours wo minim say assistant they are not say 12 it could be like I read somewhere on the way say 12 could obey me but for just 2 hours.
It should be within a reasonable amount of time. You can't go all day. Yes, I think the next one I have a whole chat.
Yes.
Next time I'll just bring it and I can actually share it on the link. I have a chat as to how many hours you can leave, who, how, when, all of that. I'll bring that next time.
Because I had it because some Chrome had the bicycle to be honest. By school, quite I say bicycle. Intino and on the Yabu be a yana confuse a bimu mo yania, the Baunyantia Siena, and more power no ma. Either you do it well or you don't do it at all. Tia honey, best number once and pass it. I cry a jam with fear no a who here pa because most of us know. Yeah, some way somehow guilty of this, you know. But
and this is where cultural issues also come in. And again, I know we are not touching there today, so maybe
you don't want us to go there.
Just so you understand, no, CPS investigates some things, right? But there's a whole bunch of other departments and different things that investigates child abuse. Like so me touch a criminal side now, it has its own thing. Me touch divorces, it has its own thing. I can go into a wide variety. We can go to TPOs because I've had families
TPO near then.
Temporary protective order.
Okay, good.
Domestic violence, family abuse situation. Na kola wo mu a ubetima ko jail ho na wa fill application na woni judge na kasa na judge na kasa okay I agree with you say maybe there's some abuse going on but say we back court another day no man the pakron so chance over can ask him na metie both sides so my decide say abuse in fact happen so judge didn't who abuse I wait me arrest him pakron no akoda jail or ombetimi aye so it's called consent agreement, consent TPO. Say papa no for a period of 6 months or 12 months. No on back
anamamino
on back and chain.
Me pass MBA.
On the child support at all. No more the arrangement of custody. Why are Colana better than chance what so and also that and also me who be that were divorce cases so. And I also in the divorce cases, in the middle of a case or even a custody case, a friend and
yes, like cohabiting and things like that.
But I could be my back court, I can say, me pay investigation because me feel some I'm no busy akolano. Now judge na say okay, any esme ma guardian, esme ma akolano guardian, independent person our back. Obe shia akolano no ne akolana kasa no investigate efie ni mienu na maame ne fie papa ne fie. Now a period of time where investigation we are obe catch a judge no say in fact who abuse her, who neglect her and wine na yes akolano and in the so that is so. And then there's also the state of Georgia is one of the few states that or child abuse registry. And it's me honey papa. So we did got to swat not within a certain period of time. So when you would free so by the time now court case ne banner, a bit me that so permanently. And what me say from was all nursing a juma school a juma went to me into child abuse registry. So my representative will be was so that I know so simple case of abuse is see or fear and police a friend automatically when the state of Georgia mind court date say we have found out that there's some kind of child abuse going on and you're going to be put on a registry. And the background had to go in front of the judge, fight that case and get their name removed from the registry within a certain period of time. Yes, sir. Well, see on to me nurse. She was in nursing school in T and also that whole. And then, of course, there's the criminal side. There is first degree misdemeanor child abuse. That could be a child that, well, who said, wouldn't parents no, omunye careful. Either violence, or physical, and as we say, did you na kolana witness say that's abuse. Okay.
Pacho, Jina, yan stop one and bohono so. I also no guiltiness, baby, honomo. Pacho, yes, I'm boss will be on your patron say. Sebia and Tokwaba a kunia, you are not saving family household for no. Ebia eba penny, mammy penny. And I said, Nana, any member of the family are collected with you honomo. Nanti, I say, and you manamudi what them muti mu. Ebia na mo kun, ebia makotumu saba, kwakotunu saba, and yanku, those kind of things. Cost will fear, Nasa kola or wa. Pacho says, I know patre.
I know you're afraid of cruelty to children. Okay, cruelty to children is so more degrees. There's first degree, second degree, there's felonies, and it can go all the way up. And also camera bit macho. With him cameras are everywhere. So boba our public place, not camera chowa. You know, nani pakroni free police, na police ne ba. Omitma charge with cruelty to children in a degree. It could be felony. That's 5 years or 10 years in prison. You could be looking at. And no say no minya case back could be now it was very, very sad. Make more later, but nonetheless, no say a misdemeanor charge, kolana witness care, then it'll be up to $1,000 fine, 12 months in jail. But usually if you go to court, however the different scenarios, circumstances, no one, that's how the judge will decide the punishment for that. And then there's the higher degrees of cruelty. Oh, say camera neche will say chakolana sum and I say buakolano rough. Or na kolano maybe when necessarily, but the way I now is so dangerous, say it warrants a charge no the amount of felony so and also the whole no for them one, you know. Something called you want to get out of jail, prison on. It's by all means over bond out. But one of the conditions of the bond no say won't get any contact with alcohol. So while you're waiting for your case to be heard, no, in Georgia, they have a long waiting list sometimes for some of these cases, no. For a period of a year, 2 years, who knows how long. Okay, because you're agreeing, say, so free jail or prisoner, you won't have contact with the child. So so there's a whole bunch of different levels.
I said wait. Me sure say, hey, wait there. Yeah, but it's getting interesting. So me to say we the word rough. Me question back when me stand beside say, me sure say me can say, hey, abreche de yamun kwala o. Bacho before I tell you, na where there, mun cancer na yako. Mun church mu. I had a mun kwala no mun chire mu ansa na yako.
Answer na obet your best to our question is me say me connect so that you who say me pesa me connect the oka eni nyina no ehun hia ankasa and of course you know, obviously she knows it too much. And it's good that
Yes.
you know, we have somebody like that here today. So me person me connected the discussion for today to what she's saying. You know, I know there is a little bridge, and the bridge here is that to say CPS, of course, we are still talking about, you know, CPS for any other. So again, CPS no the like because reports number whether it's substantiate. So when say substantiate case, na say even ye won pass e na all can say if there's true case of abuse or whatever. And no, of course, that's the legal side. The CPS at that time or transfer case cinema foster care unit, maybe a Jim Crano. Then the abuse, and because I had to say abuse, no, you understand. That's where then you know it goes into the, you know, to that all that portion or that aspect of, you know. So again, there will be a case where CPS will go on and it will not be substantiated. You just close it. It be sometimes be quite jealousy, you know, be a whole not they are just trying to pick on the other person. Nothing. Baby no more say it was a true concern, but then we show more who say be or no, then it goes. But once it's substantiated, it doesn't the CPS worker leaves the scene then. Okay, because the criminal part or whatever other aspect, the legal aspect of the abuse, the perpetrator or whoever did the abuse will be handled, of course, in the legal. And no, I'm say your attorney, different types, but then CPS needed. So I just wanted to say this to bridge the conversation, and then what she said, you know. So once a substantiated case comes in, CPS for you, substantiate here, foster care unit. Then they will move on to more investigation, whatever calls are coming. And then the legal aspect of whoever did the wrong, whoever did the abuse or whatever will be handled by the legal people involved. And see, this is the bridge. So I just wanted to put this in so that we can, it will maybe more better.
And just so you understand, sometimes me family lawyer and me clash with CPS.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Is that sometimes investigation is substantiate no word no. So it's much so who abuse
I say bibia etre su bia na say adanse bi eche say amfani omo kan say no kre pa we na eche say no kre we na eche say nye no kre.
So omo investigation so who bia. That's not the end. Means so we can take it up in different avenues. The first thing I can say, so sense abuse a friend 911. So who kunu so person or prakola no and also prawo anything friend.
And I say you person prakola now.
And I saw you person prakola
balance or hand there.
Balance. Now police ne can say unim. The old canon, the honest canon, yes, sure say why they kind of crowd faculty courts. Police with my sir. With my basin, like I said, when him yentimi who the cost to say to put the faculty courts. Then the next step I may advise you say, Coco apply for sa TPO na kind of temporary protective order. No? So the Nipacron be free apply and check free was and to go right away and no jail. Now I apply it. Now I record this maybe and also so it can branch different ways. So CPS funds is why are good because then you go to juvenile courts, you do the deprivation case there and so forth. But anyways, along it's
and let me say something. Let me batch. I know. Say anytime you not trigger BB or me so me say
trigger.
And then me call break cry and come on the row.
The other one says, send your can I am pat say, only we couldn't about fear, not say, Bibinia for police. The thing is, Akrano is the center of whatever is happening as police in Bampo for CPS because that is they have to do that because that is child protective service, you know. Yes, she said, say, as something involving penny too, no. Now say we are in the midst of it, and okay, who is going to take care of the kid or who is doing what? Fine, but when the initials are happening, whilst in Tokwane be a crown, okay, for instance, Mako, me name me boy for me, come say me fa crown, my minister on me fa crown, battle with a crown. Police would definitely involve CPS like automatically because the child is the center of whatever is happening. Sometimes depending on the situation, CPS doesn't necessarily have to come in, but say a crowd won't feel a crowd no 99% of the time the police, even if you call the police, they will also bring the CPS because of the child no more are taking care of whatever they need to take care of on their end. But you go be a cranny there, it can go through the police system, the law enforcement and whatever the process is.
But me bow to say be a banisana say be a parent in me or say ye mu free if you honoma. Then you still come because a crown win ya some protect her crown me boa. Say be a family member be or the make some fa crown ko. Baby ni ho dia some make sure say parents me no ye mu free fee honey there. A crown so baby or because unto me ni o mu chinko jail ho na say baby sir.
Yeah, okay. So Akran always have to have supervision. And maybe you do options our parents when these things happen that we can touch on those things because the child always have to have supervision. If you can't do it, a family member cannot do it, who is in line? So over child welfare system now we have with them our main cohort, but there were other of which even the state prefers a child to be. So if the parent cannot, there who is the next in order? Who is the next in order? We don't want to even consider foster care until that is the only way out. You understand?
Yeah, at the school mo. Mpacha enche be baby school nti pacha mo tie mi a especially yan ye Georgia area no. Eno nti na okoye registration a ye bisa for contact emergency. Me fa ne say obana Mrs. school bus. Na o school mo ha. Normally no how akra ne best school ni dey here school for ni bebre. Ehia ye wo school. Ne ehia ne say wa best school. Nemo be school. Na so okofie na wentimi ankofie a. And when I come back to start listening, I didn't watch or say, Bibi I am friend. To send your can yes, your order a different. First of all, your best friend legal parents. Your friend legal parents, and I say, Yen san come movie. Then the next in line, emergency contact. And also we are trying in certain order. I think so with this time, school be a different, but school be a home. And I said, we need to at least 2 people or more. Intino on my first order na copy say last person so be and fabia then the principal has no choice so be free child protection services for and I say be free police for say abofre bi ma twenya or say principal school for so ya mopon intino ma twenya about 5 middle school actual 5 they no be on fee about 6:30 nobody's responding. Principal no nya kran in the school no one friend no so kran no be kire no nti ho no so ofre say mo be fa kran no nko ba bi na mo hwe ne maame ne papa me dem ko mi fie nti no san so na me gidi say sister fu a kire say bibi ba na so sa wo fo no free fie ho a o me hwehwe kwan bebre so akopim say obi enu ho anse na be ka sa kran no free fie ho na anonko aban mu ntenye say prekupe na okọ aban mu enko money dem di say bebi edu na ayed dan kasa me hia bebre so na me say beto aso ntino say monka yan wrap up na empon wa ha because and there Sunday be ko edwuma echina ntino ye be wrap up wa na ya to aso ntino ende ye sua CPS ko edwuma ene ehu say ye ya kwantu mu de ye culture aspect ni ndu ho but ye culture makwan ma nyame bi wo ho a ye nanso na mra no eya na abeka ye wo sa kwan no so ene na ye sua ende hu say abuse any neglect. Ade bi wo Ghana normal, it's okay, but it won't be okay. Ade bi wo to say asotwe ni mu sa nyama no and then one year wentimi ma waduane ndi aha koye na ya ebem e de asembe bro Ghana utimi de ye. I mean it's not right, we are not promoting but yetimi de ye na I will for na for mo we di free but aha no wo yes anyama na say o ma no omuko kan na so bi hu obetimi report and from all that I've heard me who say your man no bebre no mo boa ye pa and then the make say parents bi a obetie program o say obo o man abaso because anya bia nyama ya bobo so there 1 or 2 or 3 there we are guilty of some of them a lot of them so ba no why nyama ya do no nko kan ya no bia report o say ye dan your man ase because looks like some of them are very understanding kolani bi o ho me are very understanding because nyama nkiti bia say ye feel say nya hwe no and then me who say bebre ne ehwe pa te say anka yen na nka yefie nka yen kola nka yefie ha kore bi eni ho because ebi o ha we just do it like a normal based on culture but the we are anti fuani sister Lynn church me net say ye di microscope hwe pa nka yen ni fie nka yen ma no mo kwada dada but it's good that we are learning ye need buy your so intino ube video na show no na say wo question bi apatwa ya now there are two chats no obetimi so afre obetimi a email ye na ya responding ya nya questions bua ma yetimi ye discussion more intino ube two show no so na say our Facebook live is on YouTube we share your flyer no so share with other people because it's very very I think this is the best show of the starting way me patching in because it's an eye opener. Yeah, yes, it's true, my but when you hear from the horse's own mouth, my form, my year, our cases be bria, na church, my dear no. Intinebia udi for baby, and enumerate no sister wadrin. Like I said, you see, ignorant is not what something of the law, right? Minimum, dear Emma won't find who the Emrani
Not
Chiwanacho.
an excuse, Lord.
It's not an excuse, thank you. Nti nyame encha den so dey system say excuse ni enye bi because ye nkyerɛkyerɛ afa ho nti no mesa so afa kwenya we su na mada ye sisters mi no mo ye Ghana for 100% awuti ya ɛna mo no mo adwuma no mo nti ne omo ka no nti na ye ka ne twi na ye nyina ya te ase yi nti ne ye da mo ase bebre patcho mo final words bi na ye jam na mo kɔ nyame ya adoma next week ebetwa so final words for sister Ellen no be call first amame.
It's been a pleasure. That's someone inviting me. Hopefully, I was able to give some insight into a little bit of the law, but you know.
Okay, yeah, a little bit. I'm saying you better call law school. A little bit now, you might.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you.
Because it took 7 years or 8 to get this, so we can't do it like we can't do. Just show us a little bit. Never call you kakra.
Yeah, and touch on collaboration so as
No, we'll come back. This series, I'm sure it may even end in December. We'll come back randomly. Yeah.
Because I know it's yeah, mano. The collab school no nyoma ya mo ya yeah motimi.
I think so before back to school no I have a plan to do back to school series, so you may have to come back again so that you are 2 year ban for and no match school as for especially mom call high school mom call college in we need to know a little bit
of taxi one phone so no.
Okay. All right, thank you Tino. That's a new topic altogether. Until Baba Banyami Shop, say I'm sure we have saved the family from what we are doing. We have saved the family, we've saved the child, or we shouldn't see like, oh, yeah, bet na hane kasa kasa. Me did say nyame pesa ofa we so no di je obata and be nimba free amanemu and asa obata and free amanemu. This is for final words.
Oh, me that will be asking Miss something new from your attorney. No, she seems very knowledgeable with the law, and and it's priceless. You have to pay so much money to get legal advice for anything. So me that phone you know so much brain no tie na era one TV phone so you know must because akwenya no it's priceless enye asem kitwa ntie do must say o mama ye akwenya we ya so ye obi man so a o mama ye platform a yetimi the church share adwen ni ade do must
You overall me partner also me do bias because nyakasa no being a teacher no ma bebua me like my tina ma be me say a parent so kan ho nti I feel so blessed this evening. And me who said I may stand them, maybe I make us a be wanting, I make say me that is not the last series into will come as much as time will permit you. I mean, some we are very busy parents, and I don't want to say, but we are parents of special need, and also the if remain ye. Until sometimes and then say something is going on, we need to take care of our own. But as long as when we get opportunity, we'll continue to share because we need to help our community. And we thank God for social media and internet. This time, when you say bra workshop or this will be on this internet for a long time. Go back and play it and listen and get back to us if you need help. Next week. God bless you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay. I believe say calling beba na live questions the more, so we are growing. We'll get there one day. So see you next week. And we'll be right here 6 p.m. Bye.
Thank you.
All right. We are off air now.